Yorkshire and Lancashire are two rival counties in the north of England. They're both big counties and they have a very historic rivalry going back to the 1400s, which was famously known as the War of the Roses. You had the Red Rose of Lancashire, you had the White Rose of Yorkshire, and at the time you had the House of York and the House of Lancaster in Lancashire. Both thought they had heir to or claim to the English throne, and so both were big, powerful houses, they were called, and they battled it out for 30 years, 1455 to 1485, until Lancashire, through Henry VI, actually won the battle. And so ever since then, and probably before that, they've had this huge rivalry, especially since the War of the Roses. Now, going to modern times, it's now spilled out into the land of tea. Yorkshire tea is highly likely to be your favourite tea. It's my favourite tea. It's the most popular tea in England. It has around 30% market share. However, I have found a tea which I think could actually rival it for being the best sort of everyday tea. And just by coincidence, it's Lancashire tea. So let's have a little look at both teas before we get started. So Yorkshire tea, the branding's obviously all around the Yorkshire countryside, a cricket game, there's a sheep there. It's very English, very sort of cosy sort of branding. If we open it up, we've gone for the rectangular square tea bag, which I quite like actually. I'm going to put that in the Only Fools and Horses cup. Just a quick word on Yorkshire tea. It actually started in 1977. That's when it was launched from tailors out of Harrogate. We have Lancashire tea. They've gone for a different type of approach here. It's a map, kind of kids map really, of all different famous parts of Lancashire. If we get it out of the box, they've gone for the circular tea bag here, which I always find looks a bit cheaper actually. But let's see how it tastes. Let's put it in the heart cup. Just a note, I've tried both teas before and I just can't determine which one's best. So it's a side-by-side comparison. Lancashire tea, it was launched in 2006 out of a place called Earlstown in Merseyside, which used to be part of Lancashire. Kettle boiled and poured in. I always go water first, sort of tea bag and water first, let it brew for about 3 to 4 minutes, how I like it, and then add a bit of milk. 2 spoons being used to take this seriously and prevent any kind of cross-contamination here. You can see the Yorkshire bag is sort of sinking in a bit more, which I guess helps the brewing. Lancashire is a bit more of a floater of a tea bag, so I'm going to get the air out of that and let it sink down a bit further. And there we have it. 2, for me, in my preference, perfect cups of tea. Yorkshire, definitely slightly more golden in colour. The Lancashire is a slightly sort of more browny hue. I'm going to let them cool down ever so slightly because they're still pretty piping hot, and then I'll dive in. So here we go then. Yorkshire tea, representing the county of Yorkshire, and Hull and Leeds and Sheffield and Harrogate, and all the rest of the places. Barnsley in Yorkshire. Obviously I've had lots of Yorkshire teas. I've had hundreds of thousands probably of Yorkshire teas. And I probably drink 3 to 4 cups a day, so I feel quite qualified here. That's a great cup of tea. And let's pick up Lancashire then, representing historically Manchester, Liverpool, but now more Preston and Blackburn and Bury. Bury might be Manchester. Burnley is definitely up in Lancashire. Let's go for it. I've got a more strong tea flavour, I have to say. This is still on the piping hot range. I'll let it cool down a bit further. But I would say that Lancashire's got a richer flavour, genuinely. But it doesn't mean it's a better tea. I'd say Yorkshire at the moment is still probably a more refreshing tea. But let's just let it cool down and have one more battle. So here we go again. Yorkshire against Lancashire. Yorkshire first. Nice, smooth, easy to drink. Lancashire. I mean, they're very, very similar. They're very, very good teas. I've tried other ones like PG Tips recently, and it really does like give you a horrible sort of taste. They're both brilliant, but I'm gonna have to say that for the everyday tea, I'm still gonna stick with Yorkshire just because it's got this smoother taste. Lancashire though, for the odd cuppa, I would say is probably a better tea. It's a richer tea. But I'm gonna reign supreme with Yorkshire as the everyday team. Lancashire, very, very, definitely the second best tea I can find, like for an everyday bog standard kind of tea. But in this situation, I'm going to go for Yorkshire to win the battle, win the war of the roses of the tea, or at least this battle anyway. Thanks for watching this really interesting video. I'll see you soon.